The fluorescent lights of the diner cast a harsh glow on Emma's trembling hands as she divided a single grilled cheese sandwich into 3 equal pieces. Her children, 6-year-old Lily and 4-year-old Mason, watched with the kind of patience that broke hearts, the patience of kids who'd learned too young that hunger was just another part of life. Emma's throat tightened as she placed the meager portions on the chipped plates before them. This wasn't how she'd imagined motherhood. Just 18 months ago, she'd had a husband, a home with a small garden, and dreams of family vacations. Now she had calluses on her hands from 2 cleaning jobs, an eviction notice crumpled in her purse, and exactly $12 to last until Friday's paycheck. "Mommy, aren't you eating?" Lily's voice was small, concerned in a way that made Emma want to cry. "I had a big lunch at work, sweetheart," Emma lied, forcing brightness into her voice. The protein bar she'd split with a co-worker at noon felt like a distant memory. But her babies needed this food more than she did. "You two enjoy it." She didn't notice the man watching from the corner booth. Marcus Wellington had built an empire from nothing. The Wellington tech conglomerate had made him one of the youngest billionaires in America, his face gracing magazine covers with headlines about innovation and success. Tonight, he'd escaped his penthouse and his assistants. Relentless schedule for something his therapist called grounding, sitting in ordinary places, remembering what real life looked like beyond board meetings and stock portfolios. But there was nothing ordinary about what he was witnessing. He watched the young mother smile at her children, with a love so fierce it seemed to illuminate her exhausted face. He saw the way she pushed her water glass aside, probably to avoid filling up on liquid. He noticed the worn patches on her uniform, the name tag that read Emma, and the way she kept glancing at the door as if afraid someone might ask them to leave. Marcus had been that kid once. Different circumstances, different decade, but the same gnawing hunger. The same mother who pretended she wasn't hungry so her children could eat. He'd been 12 years old, living in a shelter with his mom after his father abandoned them, when a stranger's kindness had changed everything. A hot meal, a warm coat, a scholarship application, slipped across a table with words that still echoed in his memory. "Someone gave me a chance once. Now I'm giving you one." He'd promised himself that if he ever made it out, he'd remember where he came from. Marcus signaled the waitress, a tired-looking woman named Paula, whose kind eyes suggested she'd seen plenty of hard luck stories in this diner. He scribbled something on a napkin and slid it across with his credit card. Everything on this menu that those kids might enjoy: chicken fingers, mac and cheese, chocolate milk, whatever looks good. And get the mother a proper meal, too, something filling. "Don't tell them it's from me. Just say there was a mix-up with orders and the kitchen made extra." Paula's eyes widened as she read the tip amount he'd written. "Sir, this is—" "Please," Marcus said quietly. "And Paula, there's going to be more coming. Just trust me." 10 minutes later, Emma stared in confusion as Paula set down plates of steaming food. "I'm sorry, there must be a mistake. We didn't order—" "Kitchen made too much," Paula said with a practiced smile. "Can't let it go to waste." "On the house." Emma's eyes filled with tears. "I can't accept this. Someone paid for this, didn't they?" "Does it matter?" Paula's voice was gentle. "Your babies are hungry. You're hungry? Let someone do something nice." Across the diner, Marcus felt something crack open in his chest as he watched Lily and Mason's faces light up. The little girl actually squealed with delight at the chocolate milk. The boy carefully counted his chicken fingers like they were treasures. And Emma covered her mouth with both hands, shoulders shaking as she tried not to sob in front of her children. But Marcus wasn't done. While Emma and her kids ate, he made 3 phone calls. The first was to his assistant. "Find out everything about Emma. Last name should be on her work uniform. I need to know her situation by morning." The second was to his foundation director. "I want to establish something new, a rapid response fund for families in crisis. We start tomorrow." The third call was to an old friend who ran a property management company. "I need a furnished apartment available immediately. 2 bedrooms, safe neighborhood, near good schools. I'm covering a year's rent." Over the next 2 weeks, Emma's life transformed in ways that felt like miracles but were actually the result of one man's determination to pay forward the kindness he'd once received. It started with the diner owner offering Emma a better-paying position as day manager, a job Marcus had funded anonymously. Then came the letter about the apartment. A community assistance program had selected her family for emergency housing. The furniture, the kids' new school supplies, the winter coats that appeared on her doorstep. Emma couldn't understand where it all came from, but she wept with gratitude for each blessing. Marcus watched from a distance, receiving updates from his team but never revealing himself. This wasn't about recognition or tax write-offs. This was about a promise he'd made to his younger self in a shelter 25 years ago. But the universe has a way of bringing full circles to completion. 3 months later, Emma's new job stability allowed her to enroll in night classes. She'd always dreamed of becoming a teacher. On the first day of her business fundamentals class at the community college, the guest speaker was announced, Marcus Wellington, talking about entrepreneurship and second chances. Emma felt her heart stop as the billionaire tech mogul walked to the podium. She'd seen his face on magazines in the grocery store checkout line, but never in person. He began speaking about his childhood, about hunger and homelessness, about a mother who'd sacrificed everything. "I was 12 when a stranger bought my mother and me dinner," Marcus said, his voice carrying across the hushed auditorium. "That person will never know that one meal gave my mom enough hope to keep fighting. It gave her enough energy to fill out job applications that night instead of giving up. That one act of kindness became the domino that started everything else falling into place." Emma's hands trembled in her lap. "Recently, I saw another mother doing what mine did, going hungry so her children could eat. And I realized that all the success in the world means nothing if we don't use it to lift others up." After the lecture, Emma waited in line, her heart pounding. When she finally stood before him, Marcus looked at her with warm recognition. "The diner," Emma whispered. "It was you," Marcus smiled. "Your children are beautiful. How are they doing?" The tears came then, unstoppable. "I don't know how to thank you. Everything that's happened, the apartment, the job, was that all you?" "That was you," Marcus said firmly. "You're the one who worked 2 jobs. You're the one who loved your kids enough to keep fighting. I just removed some obstacles. You did the rest." Emma shook her head, overwhelmed. "Why? Why would you do all this for strangers?" Marcus's eyes grew distant for a moment. "Because someone once did it for me. And because I looked at you that night and saw my mother. I saw someone who deserved a chance to breathe, to hope, to dream again." He reached into his jacket and pulled out an envelope. "This is a full scholarship for your teaching degree. When you graduate, there's a position waiting at a school I'm funding in underserved communities. But Emma, the greatest thing you can do to thank me is to pay it forward someday. When you see someone struggling, remember this moment. Be the miracle for them." 5 years later, Emma stood in front of her own classroom, teaching children from families just like hers once was. On her desk sat a framed photo of Lily and Mason on graduation day from the after-school program Marcus's foundation had established. And in her wallet, she carried a worn napkin from that diner with words she'd written herself. "Someone gave me hope. Now I give it forward." Marcus Wellington never sought recognition for his actions that night. The media never covered the story. But across the city, the ripples of that one moment of compassion continued, spreading in the single mothers Emma helped navigate the social services system. In the scholarship fund, she'd started with her first teacher's salary. In the way, Lily and Mason grew up knowing that kindness was the greatest currency of all. Because true generosity isn't measured in dollars. It's measured in the tears of relief on a struggling mother's face, in the belly laughs of children who finally have enough to eat, and in the quiet revolution that begins when one person decides that another person's suffering matters. That night in the diner, Marcus hadn't just bought a meal, he'd reignited hope. And hope, as Emma learned, was the most precious gift anyone could give.